everyone, it's Wendy from Learn For You, and I'm here today to do a tutorial on drop-down boxes within Microsoft Excel. Drop-down boxes can be really useful if you're having to put in, let's say, product information. It means that we don't have to worry about constantly typing out the different products and having to worry about spelling errors. We can simply use a drop-down box to drop that down, find the product that you want, quickly select it, and then move on to the next step. So there's two different ways that we can create a drop-down box. So let's get started and we can go through those two different ways and we can go through some examples. Right, so we're in Excel, and up at the top here I have a list of fruit options. So you'll see apples, oranges, pears, bananas, peaches, melons, strawberries and raspberries. What I want to be able to do in cell E5 is create a drop-down list of those fruit. So what we're going to do first is head up to the Data tab on the ribbon. And if you come across to the right hand side, you'll see this group called Data Tools. And just above there, you'll see Data Validation. Now this is where we want to be to create that drop-down list. So click on there. And what you'll get is a separate dialog box called Data Validation. And within the Settings tab, it says Validation Criteria and Allow. So this is saying what are you going to allow to be inputted in that cell. And we want a list. So we want to select List. Then at the bottom, it's going to ask you for your source. So effectively what it's asking you for is what's the list of data that you want to create the drop-down list from. So we can simply use the black arrow, we can select that, and then we can select our list of fruit. Now anything that you select at this point is going to be included in your drop down list, so don't pick up the title. You want to start in this instance from apples, so I'm going to select from apples down to raspberries, which is B6 through to B13. You can press enter or you can use the arrow. So use the arrow and then press OK. And as simple as that, in E5 we've created ourselves a drop down list. So if I drop it down, you'll see that I now have that list of fruit, and I can simply select any one of these, so peaches, pears and so on and so forth. Now if I change anything in this list, so I'll just put some X's in there, so if I change pears to X's, you'll see that the drop-down list has now been updated because it's a direct representation of this list. It's live, if you will. So let's just change that back to pears. On our list we've got pears back there. So if you run a shop, for instance, you might have some calculations that are automatically going to pull through the cost of some pears in this cell next to it. So every time you use your drop-down list, it's going to update those numbers. So don't have to worry about any spelling errors, just a really quick and simple way using a drop-down list. Now the next way to use a drop-down list is by using a named range. So we can reference a named range rather than selecting a range. Now if you know how to create yourself a named range, then brilliant. If not, I'll quickly talk you through that. So we've got our veg options here. Now what we want to do is select that range of data. We want to give it a name, so instead of this being the range of data B18 through to B25, I want to give it a name, I want to call it something. So I want to call it veg_list. Now what we do is just under the ribbon on the left hand side, you'll see this name box. So if you click in there, you can type in the name of that range now. So I want veg. Now you can't have a space when you're creating a named range, so I'm going to use an underscore instead, and I'm going to call it veg_list. Now what you have to remember to do if you're doing it via this method is you now press enter. If you just click out of the box, it's not going to recognise the name, it's not going to assign the name, so you have to press enter. So press enter, click on any other cell, head back up to that name box, drop it down, and you'll see that your named range is now available. Click on it and it will highlight that specific named range. As simple as that. Now what we can do is create a drop down list based on that named range. So in this instance E17, I'm going to come up to data again, data validation, so the same principle. I want a list, and this time my source, instead of using the black arrow to pick up the data, I'm going to say equals. You have to put equals if you're referencing a named range. So we're going to say equals and then simply type in the name of your named range. So in this instance, veg_list. Select OK, and then let's have a look. There is our veg list as a drop down box. So I can select any one of these. So cabbage, peas, sweet corn, and so on and so forth. So you can either directly pick up the range, or you can pick up a named range. If your list criteria is on a different sheet, I sometimes find it easier to create self-named ranges. That means that when you're putting the data validation information in, you don't have to flick between two different sheets. You can simply say equals veg list or whatever the name of your list may be. So 2 quick and easy ways, really helpful. Save you typing all that data in, just create yourself some drop down boxes. So thank you for watching. Please keep an eye on my social media pages and also my website for more freebie videos on skills and tips and tricks.